So as you just said, it will be part of our portfolio. Your weak site, it is your portfolio actually. So your weak site, it is your portfolio. The due date for the lesson plan, I said it's the 31st, if I'm not mistaken, which is next week Friday. It can be aligned to your lesson objectives on assignment 2, and you can create any lesson plan that you want to create, which is based on which will be based on the subjects that you're specializing on. Okay, I have a hand up. M. Marupula, you can unmute and talk.
Good afternoon, ma'am, or good evening, sorry. Ma'am, I wanted to ask if I did upload the lesson plan when I was submitting.
Good evening, sorry. Ma'am, I wanted to ask if I did upload the lesson plan when I was...
There's someone else whose mic is open, so it is a repetition of what we're talking about. Please mute yourself until you are given a chance. Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, I wanted to ask about the weak side. The time I submitted my assignment, I already upload my lesson plan. So I wanted to ask if I should use the same lesson plan structure that you gave me, or the one that I submitted, it's fine. Also, again, I saw that you wanted us to upload 2 lesson plan. The second one, should we choose a different topic or what?
Yes, a different topic. Because, guys, what's going to happen is, what if at the end you are being tasked to do 5 lesson plans? What's going to happen? So if you have to be asked to do 5 lesson plans, what's going to happen there? Because now, if I'm asking you to keep on doing lesson plans now, it means that I'm minimizing or eliminating the fact that at the end you are going to have more lesson plans that you need to, or you're supposed to deliver upon. So by now I'm saying to you, do the lesson plan step by step, so that by October you are not having a tremendous task whereby now you need to do 5-6 lesson plans that you are supposed to submit. I hope that makes sense. So the lesson plan that you've submitted, it's fine. You can add on that and use a different topic using the templates that we've uploaded. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, yes, it makes sense. I just wanted clarity on that one. Am I supposed to use the current structure, or I mean the template, or it's okay even if I use a different template?
You need to use the template that we've provided.
Okay, thank you. So, ma'am, can I delete the one that I uploaded and use the current template that you provided? It's okay.
Yes, because when you were doing the assessment too, it was not basically the lesson on its own. However, you were just giving us a structure of how your lesson is going to be, because you've given us a great topic, the lesson objective, what the teacher would do and what the learners will do. However, it is not in depth as it wants to be on the lesson plan templates. So what you can do is you can take the lesson plan template and then you can put everything that you've already done on question 2 of assessment 2, and then you can have the lesson plan now using the templates, like the formal lesson plan, because you are not really doing a lesson plan. You're just explaining to me that this is what I will do, this is what the learners will do, these are my lesson objectives, the grade, the topic, and the whatnot, and then the activities that you are going to do as well.
Thank you so much. It's clear, ma'am.
No problem. Thank you. And then I have Nkosi.
Good evening, ma'am. So I wanted to ask, do we upload the templates on the Wix, like the file templates on the Wix site?
Yes, you do. You do upload it on your Wix site once you are done. The reason why I'm asking you to do this, I'm repeating again. The portfolio is going to be an ongoing activity for you. So basically, you are doing it now. However, you're going to submit it in October. Okay. So when you
Yes, ma'am.
submit
Thank
it
you.
in October, I want you to minimize the number of work that you are going to submit, because your portfolio is only going to be based on the week's side, nothing else that you are going to do at the end of the year. Your assignment 5 is mainly the week's portfolio, the week sites. So I don't know about the people who have not created a week site, what are they going to do? And I also don't know, because you, either way, you are supposed to do it, because some of you only submitted question 2 to me, and you submitting question 2 to me, it means that you are not interested in doing the website, and at the end of the day, you are supposed to submit the website either way. I hope I make sense. Any other questions before we start today's lessons, which is based on Microsoft Excel? Thumbs up. Can we move on? Can I share my screen? Okay. Just a second. Something is disturbing me. Let me close off. Okay, let me start sharing. Can you guys see my screen? Yes, there's a hand. I don't know if it's supposed to be Tabang. Okay, I believe it's saying you can see my screen. This is my marker dashboard. Okay, it's fine. Let us go to the matter of the day. Of course, I'm marking your assessments. Those of you who have submitted. So today we are looking at Microsoft Excel. So Microsoft Excel, it's not like it's something new to us. It's something that we know, and it's something that we've dealt with before. I believe so. I would like to believe so. So now, since I'm in presentation mode, I cannot see any hands up. Tabang and Luko, are your hands up, or you were just indicating that you can see my screen? Can we take lesson plan from assessment 2? The lesson plan from assessment 2, I want you to create a different lesson plan. That's the gist of the matter here. Is that I want you to be able to create a different lesson plan from the one that you've already created. So if we are taking the same lesson plan from, it can be one lesson plan. However, the second one should be a different lesson plan. Basically, I don't know if I make sense. Thank you guys for responding to each other's questions. How many lesson plans are required? It's 2 for now that you are supposed to submit. Can you do a subtitle under lesson plan with 2 subjects under? Yeah? A subtitle under lesson plan with 2 subjects. I don't understand that question. However, if I'm Lebohang, Can you rephrase your question, or can you unmute yourself and then ask that question that you are asking right now on the chat? Lebogang, Priscilla,
Hi, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks, and you?
I'm good. Ma'am, I'm just asking for clarity on the week side. So we're creating 2 lessons plans with the template that you gave us. So when
Yes.
we upload the 2 templates, can we create like subtitles under the other lesson plan that we already did?
Yes, you can. Because
Okay.
remember, already you were tasked to do
Mhm.
subsections under the sections that you've already created. So
Yes.
under lesson plans, you were tasked to do subsections. So you can have the subsections whereby you are now explaining that this is a lesson plan for geography, this is a lesson plan for history. So
Okay.
basically, you are giving us a clear picture of what your lesson plan is based on. So
Okay.
some of you did not create any subsections anyway, but you were supposed to create subsections, and you can have the different subsections whereby you I believe most of you, I also majored in 3 modules, which was geography, CAT, as well as natural sciences. So I can have 3 different subsections whereby I'm going to put the lesson plans for geography, the lesson plans for CATs, and the lesson plans for natural sciences. So that is perfectly fine.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Well answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can I get on with the issues of the day? Okay. So today we are looking at Microsoft Excel, which is, we've looked at Word already, Microsoft Word, and I've also uploaded some activities that you can, some examples of things that you can do on Word. Yeah, so now we are moving on to Excel. So basically, this is what mostly your assessment 3 will be based on. And guys, I cannot see any of your hands as I'm on presentation mode right now. So under this Microsoft Excel, so as you all know, Microsoft Excel is mostly used for counting. So we always say, let the computer do the math for you. So at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain what Microsoft Excel is used for, identify the main parts of an Excel worksheet, enter and organize data in cells, the different cells that we have, and then use basic formulas and functions, and then format data to make it easier to read, and then create simple charts to and save you and be able to save your workbook, and many other things that are quite involved in Excel. So just for you to know, Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet application that we use in order to organize, calculate, and analyze information that has been given to us. So basically, in simple terms, we use Microsoft Excel to be able to calculate or make meaning of numbers that have been given to us and analyze information that has been given to us using graphs or charts that we can find on Excel. So the information is entered into rows and in columns. So I'll show you the rows and the different columns that we have. And then Excel can perform calculations automatically using formulas and functions, which is something that I'll also show you. It can also create tables, charts, and graphs. And then Excel is commonly used for budgets, marks, attendance lists, reports, and any data analysis that you may want to use it for. So that is Microsoft Excel in a nutshell. And then the basic Excel structure, we have the workbook, which is the complete Excel file that you open from the start. And then you have a worksheet that is inside the workbook. And then you have columns, and then you also have rows whereby you can be able to put the information or do your calculations in them. And then the basics of Excel structure, we have, as I've just mentioned, we have columns, rows. The columns are the ones that are up and down, and then they are labeled with ABC. And then we have rows that are from side to side, and they are labeled with 1, 2, 3, and then we have cells whereby the columns and the rows meet. So we call them, it can be A1, B2, C3. However, it won't be 1A, 2B. No, we don't call them like that. So now I quickly want to switch to Excel. So basically, this is a worksheet. Okay, this is a worksheet. Sorry. So if I go here on File tab, remember on Excel, we also have tabs, the different tabs that we have. As much as we looked into the different tabs that we had, when we are talking about Word, also in Excel, we have the different tabs, which also have the different functions that we can do. So a workbook is this one over here. So you can have a blank workbook, and then you can search for more templates for your whatever workbook that you want to use. Okay, so in this case I've chosen a blank workbook. So this is what a workbook look like, and then we have a worksheet. So once you've selected the workbook that you want, you have this, which is a worksheet. So a worksheet has got rows. The rows are the ones which are going down, that are numbered using numbers, like numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to whatever. So these are the rows. As I'm scrolling down, these are the different rows that you can find on Excel. However, we also have the columns. The columns are the ones which are going down vertically, and then there we have letters in order for us to be able to identify the columns. The columns are identified using the letters. We have letters, and as you all know, we have letters from A up until Z. So we have columns up until Z, A to Z. And then numbers are to infinity. You can have as many rows as you want. And then we have what we call a cell. So a cell, it is that one particular block, as I've selected here, that one particular block that you are referring to, which is the cell. So if I click here on this first cell, on this first block, this is A1. This is A1. And then if I click here, this is going to be A2, and then B2, and C1, and so on and so on. Those are the cells. As I've just mentioned before, we call them, we start with the letter followed by a number. We do not start with the number followed by a letter. So that's basically what happens here. So sorry guys, let me go back to the presentation. As I've just said, columns are up and down, and then rows are side to side, and then we have cells, that is where the columns and the rows meet, which is the cell, and then we label it with B2 or A1 or whatever the case may be. But we do not start with the number, we start with the letter followed by a number. And then when you are entering data into a cell, and then you first click on the cell and type your information, press enter to move on to the next row, and then you use tab in order to move to the next column. And then you can enter the text, dates, numbers, formulas, or anything that you like to do on your Excel file. So if I go back here, I'm just going to use this. Let me just type in class test or term 1 marks or something like that. Term 1 marks. Okay. And then I've used enter in order to go down. If I click on tab on my keyboard, it's going to go to the side. I hope that makes sense. So this is going to be name of the learner, and then I'm using tab again. I'm going to put the surname, tab test 1, tab again, test 2. And then I'm going to put total. Let's say they did 2 tests in total. And then on cell A3, on row 3, column A, that's when I'm going to start putting the names. Zandile, Todeti. And then let's say for test 1, out of 50 you got 30, and then you also got 27, just for instance. And then I'm going to just have three learners here. So that's my daughter, and then 26, and then 45, just for interest sake. And then we have Johnson, just for interest sake. We have 35, and then 45. So that's basically how you put your data onto an Excel workbook. This is an Excel workbook, and I've just put in some data then. Please don't mind my spelling. It's just quick and hurry things. Okay. And then you can rename your tabs. You can add new tabs. The sheet tabs that we have. So basically a sheet tab is the one that is here. So this is sheet 1, and then I can have click on plus, and then you have sheet number 2, and then you can click on plus, and then you can have sheet number 3. So on sheet 1 I can change this. I can rename this to term 1, and then sheet 2 I can rename this to term 2. Okay, and then sheet 3, term 3. It's up to you. Okay, so basically you are keeping all the information of your learners on one workbook with different worksheets. You are keeping all your learners' information on one workbook using different worksheets, basically. So here, as I already have the 3 different worksheets, you can also delete them. Let's say you don't need worksheet 3 anymore. You can just click on it and then you delete. And then let's say here you want to change the tab color, you can always do it. Let me make it red, and then this one, let us make it to be blue. Yeah, just for interest's sake. Okay. There's someone's mic that has been unmuted. Thank you. And then when you are typing in the data, you can put the numbers, you can put the text, you can put in the dates, yeah, and many things that you would like to put in there. So tests, those are names, labels, or descriptions that you can put. And then, however, there are certain functions that you can use in order to calculate your text. And there are certain functions that you can use in order to be able to calculate your numbers in Excel. And then you can also have formulas to calculate the dates. You can also have formulas and functions to calculate the numbers. Numbers are used for counting or measuring. So you can fill up your cells with the different information that we can have. Okay. So this one, it's just showing you the formula that you can have. So whenever you're talking about a formula, a formula is different from a function. Reason being, a function does not use any mathematical operators. So basically, your mathematical operators are addition, subtraction, multiplication, as well as division. So those are your mathematical operators that are not being used in a function. However, they can be used in a formula. So you can use 2 functions and then you add them. That now becomes a formula. It's no longer a function, however, it becomes a formula. So the minute you introduce your mathematical operators into Excel, it's no longer a function, but it becomes a formula. So the difference between a function and a formula is that a function does not use any mathematical operators. It's straightforward. If it's equals to sum, then it's equals to sum. However, with the formula, that one uses your mathematical operators. It uses your mathematical operators in order to allow you to do the math. I don't know if I make sense there. Are you guys still with me? Are you guys still with me, or you are just lost in the vicinity of everything? Thumbs up if you can still hear me. Someone's mic has been open. Okay, let us proceed. I'm sorry about that, guys. There was just a little something that I had to take care of. Okay, so now I want us to look at this particular slide. Man. Okay, so as I've just mentioned to you that when you are using a formula, you use the mathematics operators: addition, subtraction, multiplication, as well as division. Okay, so if you can look at the slide, we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, whereby you add, you subtract, you multiply, and you also divide. However, for functions are straightforward, and you have, like, these are the useful functions for you as beginners. We have the sum, we have the average, we have max, mean, as well as count. So those are simple functions that you can use for beginners. Okay, so now I want us to do this practically. Whereby we are going to use the information that we already have on our worksheet. Firstly, we are going to calculate the total for test 1 and test 2 in order to find out how many marks did each learner get for the term. So firstly, we are going to use a formula, and then to calculate the same thing, like how many marks, we're going to use a formula to calculate, and then we are also going to use a function to calculate the marks. Okay, so here, most important thing, whenever you are starting with a function or a formula in Excel, it won't work unless you start with an equal sign. Okay, unless you start with an equal sign, it will not work. So let me start using total, and then sorry, so the minute you put equal sign, it changes everything. So I'm just going to put formula, and then I want to maximize this, and then here it will be total, but instead it will be function. Okay, total using the formula, total using the function. It will yield the same answers. However, we've used two different things. Okay, so the formula should be equals to test 1, which is going to be in C3, plus, on my keyboard, test 2. And there I have the mark, which is 57. This is out of 100. And then total using the function. So for us to be able to calculate the total using the function, this function that we are supposed to use there, it is the sum function. So it is equals to sum function. So it's going to be this one. And guys, this is the most important part of everything. Our Excels are not the same. Okay, especially when you are using a function. Our Excels are not the same. I used to stress this a lot when I was still teaching at high school, because some Excels use a comma. As you can see mine here, if I were to remove this and then double click here, it will show me that the first thing that it wants, it highlights it. It says number 1. So I'm going to click there. And then the next thing that it wants from me is to put a semicolon. Okay, once I've put a semicolon, I can click on the second one and then I close brackets. The reason why I'm closing a bracket is because some functions do not work unless you close a bracket. And then you'll find other complex functions whereby you have almost 5 brackets that you've opened, and you need to make sure that you close all the 5 brackets for your function to be correct. So there you go. The formula is giving us the answer and the function is giving us the answer, which is the same answer. And then another thing, guys, that you need to know and you need to learn is that Excel is there to make our lives easy. So basically we are going to use it at the best advantage for us. Okay, so here I'm not going to repeat the same thing. Imagine if I had 150 students in my class, as much as I have 6,000 of you, and right now I'm marking 3.2 of you. So if I were to do this one by one by one by one, I wouldn't be able to finish on time. However, Excel, since it's there to make our lives easy, you can just drag and drop this, and there you have your answer. This is called filtering or copying the function down. It's copying the function down while referencing to the appropriate cell that is in the very same row that you are working on. Are you guys still with me? So we have this filtering. I don't know if it's a hand up. T Mahaba.
Hi, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, ma'am. My question, ma'am, is about does Excel have a mic where I can just, talk? Maybe let's say I'm saying Zandi, let's wait, and then it is typing over there, and I'm saying 30, and then it just automatically types.
Unfortunately, no. You mean that feature that we have on Word?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
That typing feature you have on Word where you can talk and then it types for you? No. I've
Yes.
never
Oh,
seen it before.
hey, but if it was there, ma'am, I mean, it could have been like that one thing that is missing, ma'am.
Yeah, it would have been one thing that is missing.
Yeah, because I would be like, Mama, Mama, I'm 30, and then it's typing, Mama, Mama, I'm 40.
Exactly. No, I've
Maybe they
never
should
seen
add
it
this.
before.
They should add
And I've
that,
actually
ma'am.
never tried it.
But maybe it's there. Wait, ma'am.
Maybe we should look for it. Maybe it's
Maybe,
there.
maybe it's there, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my question, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. And we have another question. Natalia.
Good evening, ma'am. Can you
Good
hear me?
evening. Yes, I can.
I didn't want to interrupt while you are explaining. So is it okay if I ask or you ask or you take questions after the session?
You can ask before I
I
forget.
wanted to ask while you are busy since I'm seeing it. Let's say for instance, if I write a person's name and it takes like let's say 2 blocks. I don't know how to say the names for Excel. Let's say I write in A2 and the name is actually long and it looks like it's actually in B2 also.
Like
If it
this
makes
one. You see
sense.
this one.
Yeah.
Siposetsu.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask if let's say I maybe skip the blocks. I use block A for names and then I skip block B since the name is longer. Then I go to block C. Would it be okay or do we need to go from block A to block B?
I wouldn't advise you to jump the block because the name is long. But what I'll advise you to do is, you see here on top,
Yes.
here, and then there's this cross that has 2 arrows.
Yes,
If you
that's
double click on that, basically the name fits.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If you double click on that, the name fits, or you can just increase your column width. Just that you won't know how. Okay, right now it's 8,11. And then for interest sake, let us say 9. And then click on OK. But still does not fit. That's why I'm just saying you can just double click and there you have it.
Oh, okay. No, I
Increase the
understand.
the column width. You see now it's 10,89 because I've already increased it.
Yes.
So I was getting to that. You can increase the column width and you can also increase your cell, your row height. Your row
Oh,
height, it can also be increased. Let me make this 20 so that it's much more visible. There it is.
oh, okay. No, thank you, ma'am. I understand.
No problem. You're welcome. And then, since there are no questions, let me continue. Let's say here for term 1 marks, as Natella was just asking, if the words do not fit, what do we do? And let's say, for instance, I want this to be in the middle part of the worksheet. So what I'm going to do is this whole part from A to F, I'm going to match the cells, okay? So I'm going to highlight the cells. So you see in Excel, you have sort of like many crosses, and all these crosses have got different meaning and have got different functions that they do. So this one is for copying the function down. The white one, the white big one, is for highlighting your cells. And then you also have that one which allows you to increase the width or the height. Okay, this one increases the width or the height. And then, so now I'm just going to highlight from A to F. And then what I want to do here, it is to merge and center. Meaning that now all these 6 cells become one cell. All the 6 cells become one particular cell. And okay, let me just undo this. You see, it was different cells. This is A1, B1, C1, and up to F1. But now if I merge and center this, it becomes one particular cell. And here it is A1. The name of the cell, it is A1. This is a name box. This is a name box. And this is a formula bar where you can see the formula behind the number. Okay. So let me just increase this. This is term 1 marks. And then here I can change the font color to any color that I want. Let's just make it blue. And then the background color of the font, you can also change it here. Let's make it this one. Okay. So merge and center, changing the font color, it's all on the home tab. Okay. And then another thing that I want you guys to learn, it is to insert your borders. Okay, let us insert our borders. So I'm just going to highlight everything. Most importantly here, with everything, you need to highlight first before you can do whatever that you want to do. So I'm just going to highlight everything, and then here I'm going to click on the arrow, I want everything to have borders, so it's going to be all borders. Okay. You see, this one is copying everything down. And then I have all borders for everything. Now it looks much more better. And then I just want to highlight this and then bold it. And then these names over here, you can italize them. It's all up to you. You are the one who is creating your spreadsheet the way you want it to look like. And you can do so many things in a spreadsheet. This is what I'm showing you right now. And then some of the other functions that we have average, we have max, we have mean, we have count. So for average, here we can count the average, mark the average for test 1 and test 2, okay? So we use a function which is equals to average, the word in full. So here we use it in full. However, in database that we are still going to do, you can count your average using equals to AVG, but here it's average in full. Equals to average, and then I'm just going to copy the cells down, close the brackets, enter. So the average for test 1 is 69.33. This is something that you can do in class, guys. When you are asked to do analysis at schools, this is something that you can just do at a blink of an eye. Once you have everything, you just do it. Okay. I don't know why. Oh yeah, it's the same thing. Why am I doing it again? Sorry about that. So average mark, it's 69.33. And then here you can increase the decimal and also decrease the decimal. So if I decrease the decimal, the average is just 69. Okay. And then we also have minimum, which is a minimum number. So who got the minimum for test 1? So equals to min. No, I'm saying mix. Equals to min. Who got the minimum for test 1? There you have it. It is 26. And then the maximum number for test 2, let's say for test 2 in this case, everything, guys, you start with the equal sign. Otherwise, it won't work. Once it shows you there, and it's also telling you what that particular function that you are looking for does. So max returns the largest value in a set of values. Ignore the logical values in text. So it shows you the largest number. So in test 2, who got the highest? What did I do now? Equals to max. And there I have it. The maximum number, it is 45. And then you can also count the number of people who were doing the test. So there's a difference between count. Okay, let me put it like this. When you're using count, you are counting the numbers. Okay. However, you are counting how many numbers are there. You are not actually counting like the sum or how many numbers are there in those particular cells. So how many people wrote test 3, and we are going to use the any numbers, okay? So equals to count, and then I'm just going to use test 1 for interest sake. I'm counting how many numbers are there. How many numbers? You can see them, 1, 2, 3. So the answer is going to be 3. That is count. It's counting how many numbers are there. And then you cannot use count in order to count the names. we have a different function for counting the names, which is equals to counter. The count with an A at the end. Okay? Counter, sorry. So counter, it counts the names. And the difference between count and counter is that count counts the numbers only. Counter counts the names or the letters that are given to you. So equals to counter. However, what it does is it gives you the same results. It yields the same results because it's 3, 3. Are you guys still with me? Thumbs up, please. Oh, I'm now talking alone. Oh, looking at the time. I thought this was going to be an hour long, but don't worry, we are going to finish soon. And then I'm just showing you the different functions that we have. We also have count blank. So if I were to remove this, and if I remove this, look at what happens on column E and F. The marks change. Okay? Because it is always referring to what is there. So if I were to ask how many learners missed test 2, how many learners have missed test 2? Of course, I can see that it's one learner. However, I need that one to be backed up by something. So basically, equals to count blank. You're counting the blank spaces in a cell, but you select everything. You are not only going to select the blank space. Your range is going to be everything that is there. Close brackets, enter. It is 1. Oh yeah. No, this is count blank. Let me just type it in first so that you don't get confused when you are looking at the recording. Oh. Now what are you doing to me? Equals to count blank. There you go. It's 1. It's one person who has missed the test. And another thing, guys, when you are asked these questions on Excel in a test or an exam, remember, no, you're not going to have an exam with me. However, in a test or in an assessment, you are not going to be told straight that use count blank to count how many learners missed the test. However, what we do is we ask you how many learners have missed the test. Using a function, calculate the number. So what you need to do is you need to refresh your mind and think about the function that you use in order to be able to count the blank space, and then you utilize that. So you are not going to be told you're just going to be asked what is the minimum number? What is the minimum mark that the learners have received? Then you should know that you should use the function minimum. You should use the function max, or whatever the case might be. Okay, so these are just some of the functions that you need to know and you need to be able to do. If it happens, we are still going to add more, but I'm not sure. But for now, I was just told to focus on this particular functions. And then, yeah, and then another thing that I want to show you, which is the last thing, it is the creation of chats. Okay, you can use this information that has been given to you in order to be able to create a bar graph or a line chart or whatever the case might be, whatever that allows you, or whatever that you are asked to do. So in this case, I'm just going to use this part. We're just going to show test 1, test 3, test 2, as well as the total. Here it was, let's just put a random number. Everything changes. As soon as you change something, keeps on referring to what that particular cell was referred to. Okay, so here, this is what I'm going to use in order to be able to create a chat for myself. And then once I've highlighted the information that I want in my chart, and then I'm going to go to recommended charts. In this case, we can use any charts. You can use the recommended charts, or you can use the old charts, depending on what you like. So I just want let us use column, because I think it's showing much better. So this is a column chart. Okay, so it's showing how each learner has behaved in the term. So the chart title, you can change it here to be term 1 marks. And then here, this is your legend. Your legend, you can change it. And then another things that you want us to have is your axis title. These are the marks. Oh Lord. I just want to change the title. These are going to be marks. And then these are the names of learners. And then in order to change this, you go to select data, and then you edit series 1. Your series 1 will be, this is going to be test 1, and then your series 2 will be test 2, and then you have series 3, which should be total. Then click on OK. There you go. So it's showing you that the color represented by test 1 is this one, test 2 is this one, test 3 is this one. Okay, so guys, those are just the basics of Excel. Oh, last thing, you can save your workbook by going to save as, because even if you go to save, it's going to automatically send you to save as, and then you can browse. Saving is also almost the same as the one that we usually do in Word. So let me, sorry, I want to go to UNISA, CIC, Excel class, and then you save. Okay guys, any questions? That's it from my side for now. Any questions so far? Yes, Mahaba, any questions?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to ask, ma'am, if you have maybe like a PDF where it explains that, count is used to count, numbers, then counter is used to count, names.
I can upload that for you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
No problem.
Yeah, ma'am, because the other day I was trying to search for it, but the one that I got, it was just, shortcuts. It was just showing me like
Okay,
shortcuts.
no problem. I'll upload it for you. And also the slides that I was using just now, I'll upload them. But I certainly do have a PDF that I was using at the high school that I was working on.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. You're welcome. Duncan, your mic is on. Okay, another question, Natalia.
I just wanted to ask, I think the problem might be my laptop, but if you want to share the link, on my side, on my Microsoft Excel, it says that I need to save, although I did save, but when I try to share the link, it's giving me problems. Can it maybe be the Excel that I'm using on my laptop, or am I doing something wrong?
Yes, it might be the Excel that you are using on your laptop, and also that your Excel might not be updated.
Oh, okay.
So you need to make sure that you update your Excel and you use the proper version, and that one that has been provided to you by the University of South Africa as well.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, no problem. You're welcome. So, any other questions, guys? I can see that our time has elapsed. Nothing from your side, meaning that we are done for today. And I think we are done for Excel also. The next thing that we're supposed to do from now going forward, it is the database. And Boipelo?
Good afternoon, ma'am. I wanted to ask, after creating the lesson plans under the weeks, where do we submit? Like, do we send it to you? Like, where do
No,
we?
you upload them on the Wix site. I've explained that at the start of the lesson that you need to upload everything on the Wix site, because the Wix is an ongoing task for you that you are going to submit in October
Oh,
for
okay.
assessment 5.
Oh, okay then. Thank you.
No problem. Lebogang? Lebogang?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I would like to ask, when we submit on the lesson plans, do we upload them as a PDF or as Word document?
Anything is fine with me.
Okay, all right. And
No
then, ma'am, are you
problem.
gonna share the today's slides with
Yes,
us?
definitely. I'll
Thank
share
you
the
very
slides. I'll share the recording as well.
thank you very much, ma'am, for a great lesson.
Thank you, guys. Any other questions, guys, so that I can let you go and rest? I know some of you are already on teaching practice. Okay, guys, no problem. You, Kia?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
I'm sorry to take you back. I was only able to join the class late. Can you please explain the lesson plan part again?
Okay, the lesson plan, you are supposed to do two lesson plans using 2 different topics, and then you upload those 2 lesson plans onto your Wix site. The Wix site is an ongoing task for you that you are supposed to do, that you are going to submit at the end of the year for your last assessment.
Okay, so the topics on the subject that I'm majoring on since I'm doing
Yes,
intermediate. Okay,
definitely.
thank you.
It can be more than one subject.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely evening. Thank you for availing yourselves all the time. I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Bye.